Hi guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I'm so excited to finally be back. I was on a short summer hiatus. I've been traveling all over for the past month, so thank you for your patience with me. We have had an incredible learning journey, and I have so much to share with you guys. I have so much to give to you guys. I was creating a lot. We've been creating a new show. We're creating lives. So we have so much going on, and I have so much to bring out to the world to you guys. Welcome. Those that don't know me, I am Noelle Agape. I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness, and we are here to teach science and spirituality. We merge science and spirituality. We're here to move from contraction energy into the space of expansion. And so this month has been so amazing for me. And I am so grateful for this little pause that I had, because I get to bring my gifts back out to you guys in a different way. I'm still traveling and kind of all over the world in the last month. So we are building a show that is adventure therapy and travel and understanding fear and facing and conquering your fear from a place of as a motivator as opposed to a debilitator. And we've been filming, we have been traveling, we have been facing many fears. And so I have so much to talk to you guys about, but today's specific show, guys, is about being in your frame and understanding what that means. When is outside of you, right? So many people are seeking things outside of them. They're seeking love, they're seeking abundance, they're seeking travel, they're seeking the life of their dreams, but all within is within you. Today, we're going to talk about your I am presence and bringing that I am presence into your power and understanding how you literally work with the mental body, the physical body, the emotional body, and the energetic and spiritual body to live your best life and truly embrace and love this life. There is so much that has gone on in my life in the last month and a half. So much learning, so much understanding, so much knowledge, so much growth. Those that know me know that I'm studying to be a shaman, finishing up that journey, and I have taught. I'm a quantum energy trainer, and I teach the quantum fields. We go in and we collapse time and space. So I want to talk about what it really looks like to be in your frame and understanding your power that you have, and understanding that when you're in your frame is your energetic body, your mental body, your physical body, and your emotional body. And when you're coming up from a space of manifesting from inside of your frame as opposed to outside of your frame, it's understanding that everything that is going on, and this is a really big show today, and it's a really big concept today of self-love, self-understanding, self-worth, but really tapping into the science behind what's going on. When you are in your I am presence, or when you are in your frame, it is such a powerful tool to be present. It's your presence is really to be present. And so understanding that, and the Buddha speaks about it, Jesus spoke about it, every single spiritual religion has spoke about being present. There's a difference between being present and being in your frame. And when you're in your frame, it is your I am sense. It is God within you coming out through you out to the world. And I have learned so much about myself over the last month and a half. I've had some trials and tribulations. I've had some life things that have come up that have been obstacles along the way. I had to move, navigating a long distance relationship and understanding if we're even right for each other and knowing where I am in that space. Yet coming from love and coming from peace and coming from understanding and coming from not the wounded space, but the I am presence, right? One thing that I did constantly do over the last month and a half was get back to kindness, right? I had to come back to kindness. I had to come back to love. I had to find myself beyond my ego, I guess is the best way to describe it, right? And so there was a point in time where, I would constantly be going out into the energetic fields. I'd be manifesting, I'd be meditating, I'd be doing all of those things. But that's part of actually spiritual escapism, is when you're not actually going in and facing what's going on. And over the last month and a half, I've had not only physically had like things that have happened that were like, whoa, oh my gosh, what's going on right now? Moving out of a house, transitioning, navigating a relationship that we're figuring out if it's right for us or not. Understanding that there's nothing outside of me. And so what I want to teach you today is understanding that what is showing up in your actual reality is really a version of you, meaning that it's a version of you in scarcity. It's a version of you in codependence. It's a version of you in whatever it is that's actually showing up. So I'll use my example, my relationship as an example, where there was a lot of tests that came through. A lot of tests that came through over the last month, and what I came to understand is that the blaming piece is a very much part of the victim loop, right? It is the hero and the prosecutor and the victim all in the same breath, where you're constantly going through the try really hard and then fail, try really hard and then fail, and try hard fail loop is I'm going to try really hard because I don't feel worthy enough, and then I'm going to fail. I'm going to try really hard, and then I don't feel worthy enough, and I'm going to fail. And so this can show up in love. This can show up with money. This can show up in relationships. It just is truly about your self-worth. And the try hard fail loop is I'm going to be my own savior and I'm going to rescue myself. And someone that's very close to me said, Noelle, you do really amazing when you're backed against the wall. Why does it take for you to be backed against the wall for you to do this? And I stopped and I realized, and I was like, well, that's actually not my truth. Like, coming from a space of I do really, really well. I mean, I am the calm in the storm, and I see right through the storm, which most can't. Yet I don't have to constantly be in the storm. And what I realized over the last month was that I was being in the storm because I was being my own hero, and I was rescuing myself over and over and over again because that wounded inner child needed to be rescued. When really what was going on was I was not in my frame. I was not in my power. I was not in my mental body, my physical body, my emotional body, my horror, my aura. Like, I was not connecting all the dots with inside of me. I was actually looking for something outside of me to bring me love or bring me abundance or bring me joy. And when I started to really just teach from a place of being in my I am presence and teach from a place of my power, like, I am so solid. When I tell you I am so solid in my frame of who I am, like, I know who I am, and I know that I am a quantum energy trainer, and I know I have come here with the knowledge of the ascended masters, and I can come here and I can teach that, right? I mean, I can speak on any stage and any platform with my eyes closed in front of a cat or 5,000 people about the quantum fields. Like, that is my pocket. I am so in my pocket. What I navigated through was that's where I'm comfortable with, right? That is where my divine feminine and my divine masculine energies are in complete alignment. When I am teaching the quantum fields, when I'm speaking, when I'm embracing life and bringing my soul out through me, I'm in my power. When I realized that I was not in my power, obviously in relationships, that's my pain point, right? It is where I've navigated the relationship piece is that I had a masculine and a feminine shield. And so we're going to talk about being in your frame and knowing the difference between being in your frame, looking for love in the wrong places outside of you as opposed to inside of you. But the masculine and feminine shields are massively important to understand to get you back into your frame. And so if you have a shield, if your wounded feminine has a shield of the wounded masculine, what's going to happen is you're going to put an energetic shield around you and around your heart, and you're not going to allow in the divine masculine or the divine feminine energies, right? So you're going to be basically operating from a point with a limp, and someone dear to me said that as well, right? You're operating from a limp where you're functioning, but you're not functioning at your highest capacity. You're not doing everything that you could be in the relationship or in your business or in your life at the easiest, highest capacity of flow. You know me, I love to be in flow, right? I love to be in my feminine energies. I love to be in tying it all together and bringing it all together. What I did realize over the last month and a half, and being in one of the best relationships I've ever had in my life, and the greatest love that I've ever had in my life, knowing that you're coming from the wounded space when you have a shield. And that's so important to understand, is that one, you're not responsible for anybody else's shield, nor are you responsible for anybody else's emotions. Yet if it's showing up in your energetic fields, it's a version of you that you have to actually encompass. So there's a lot there, right? Let's start with your shield, and I mean, let's start with your presence and being in your frame and understanding what it means to have boundaries, understanding what it means in relationships, in business, in money, understanding what it means to be in your I am presence, right? And then we'll go on from there to talk about the shields. When you're in your I am presence, it is God in you, through you, coming out, as opposed to, wow, I'm going to go out to the quantum fields and I'm going to create a version of me, and then I'm going to bring that back in, and I'm going to tie that in and ground that in the 3D. That's the old way of learning, and that's the old way of healing. When you're stuck in the healing loop and constantly healing yourself and constantly healing and other people, that's when you're in the wounded healer, right? And you're speaking from a place of being wounded. You're not teaching from a place of empowerment. And so we had the greatest. I trained my 10th round of quantum trainers this week, and we had the greatest 4 days I've ever had training anybody in just in general, because we were in our frame the entire time. We got into our I am presence. We went into our mental body, and we figured out how to connect our mental body into our physical energetic body. And when you take all four of those frames and you put them together in your power, that is when you are in your frame. That is when you are so magnetic. And the electromagnetic fields, right? That's how we manifest. Is the electro is your thoughts, and the magnetic is the heightened sense of emotions. So your thoughts become patterns, your patterns become beliefs, and your beliefs become reality. So the heightened sense of emotion is what actually magnetizes you, and what brings you in. And so we're going to go into the electromagnetic fields and talk about that, and talk about your emotional body and how to do that. But your thoughts, let's talk about your mental body first, and being in your frame in your mental body. When your mind is running you and you are not running your mind is a computer, your body is a machine. And when you don't operate from that space of completely programming your mind, completely programming your body, completely programming and managing your emotions and your energetic fields on a constant basis, you're not in your frame, right? So you will be so much more magnetic in your frame when you lean back and you're in your power, you're in your frame, instead of seeking outside of you, which is a very needy energy, and it's a very wounded energy. So when you understand that you pull everything back because it's a version of you, what's going on with this person is a version of you as that person. And it's your belief system about system of energy, masculine men. And whatever is coming up for you in your mental space, I have a hack that you can do. You can go to the right side of your brain, and you can actually have a conversation with your right side of your brain and say, what's the story that I've created around that version of me? And then you go into the left side of your brain and you say, what's the story that I've created around that version of me in the left side of your brain? Because your right and left hemisphere of your brain think very differently. Then you go into your heart space, right? And you say, okay, what is the story I have told myself around love, around money, around whatever it is? Is it scarcity? So you're mind coherence, but then you're scanning your body, right? And you're going in your body and you're saying, how does my body feel about the story that I've created around this, right? Your body is so intelligent. It will tell you every single time what's going on. Once you scan your body, you'll get information. You have this internal guidance system within each of your cells and each of your body. Then you're back in your heart space, and you're in your emotional body. How am I feeling about this? Oh, is it fear, anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, or shame? Oh, okay. It's fear. Oh, behind the fear is, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not safe, secure, and protected. I'm not lovable. I'm not whole and complete. Right. And so when you understand that behind everything is the emotional body, that's your belief system. And then you go into your energetic fields, you scan from your I am presence all the way down to your root chakra, and you literally find out, where am I in scarcity? Okay, hey, scarcity, let's have a conversation. Oh, what is this bringing up? I feel abandonment. I feel neglect. I feel like there's always a story running in the background. And when you understand that the story is yours to recreate, and you pulling yourself back in your frame, and you don't have to go out there into the quantum fields to create, you actually create from in your frame, moving into your power, in your I am presence, your ascent. That's actually how Jesus manifested, was from being in his I am presence and his Christ consciousness, and moving into his power as opposed to out there, right? So when you understand that you're working with the mental body, the physical body, the emotional body, and the energetic body, and so many people miss one of those pieces, right? They just miss one of those pieces. It's tremendous to know that each of those pieces are one of the whole, but they're also part of the collective, and that's exactly what we are. We are one of the whole, but part of the collective. And when we are whole and complete within us, we don't have to seek anything outside of us, right? And so that's the first piece. And the second piece is understanding that there's shields, right? There is spiritual shields, there's masculine shields, there's energetic shields with the feminine shields. These are shields that are put up as a defense mechanism when you're a child, and you're like literally repelling feminine energy from you because you don't feel safe, secure, and protected, or you're repelling masculine energy to you. You're repelling the masculine because you're afraid of the masculine, right? And so you don't feel lovable, you don't feel good enough, whatever it may be, shields inside of you. There's also a spiritual shield too, which allows you not to tap into your power, not to tap into your energetic frame, not to tap into your I am presence, not to tap into God, source, the universe, right? And so all of these shields, you don't have to constantly go in and heal and like being this healing loop. I need to heal, I need to heal. And what I found so often of the healing loop, because it allows them to feel validated, it allows them to feel free, it allows them to feel noticed and heard. But if to be healed, right? And so moving from the healer to the teacher, and understanding that you actually are here to transmute the energy. So if the energy is in contraction, you're here to transmute it into a beautiful expansion experience. So it's a lot, right? You have an energetic field where you actually get to work in the mental body, right? Your neural net pathways, your belief systems, they create your actions. That all leads into the electromagnetic fields and what you're pulling into your life, right? And so your electro is your thought patterns, your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns, and your magnetic fields are your heightened sense of emotion. So if you're in fear and you're producing fear into a relationship, whether you realize it or not, that's what's going to come back to you. It's a version of you. Relationship is as mirrors, right? It's this. I have a masculine shield, so I'm going to attract wounded masculine people into my life, right? I release that masculine shield, and the divine masculine is allowed to come in that space because I'm confident in my divine feminine. Make sense, right? So how do you create the shield? You create the shield from trauma most of the time, from your childhood beliefs. From 0 to 7, your belief systems are developed. It's very, very simple. With you understand that you are not attracting, you're attracting wounded masculine energies within you, not the person, but the behavior and the energy that you're attracting, right? You're attracting wounded masculine. Just for example, I'll say I'm attracting wounded masculine energies because the men that I have been with have not been able to commit, lack of commitment, right? Not firm in their masculine shield, right? Why? Because and that's not the person that I was with, or the people that I with. That's not their truth. It's behaviors and energies that I was attracting within me to be transmuted, right? So if they have a feminine shield, they would have a guard against being with feminine energies because they're afraid they're going to get hurt, or they don't feel lovable, they don't feel good enough, right? And so the wounded is always going to attract the wounded, and the enlightened is always going to attract the enlightened. So how do you balance that? You balance it through, if I'm attracting um, wounded men with a feminine shield, right? That's the wounded masculine. I'd have to be in my divine feminine for that to pull in. You lean back, you're in your power, you're in intuition, you're in playfulness, you're in grace, you're in beauty, you're in strength, right? If from a masculine point of view, if I had a feminine shield, right, I would be attracting women that are very much in their wounded masculine, and they're very aggressive, and they're the masculine place, right? So what would you do? You would have to be in your divine masculine for that, right? So it's always the opposite that gets to transmute the shield. And it's like actually this cool game that you get to play with the universe. So with that being said, you being your frame, you know your power, your I am presence, you pull your energy back into you, you understand that there is no shield, right? There's an infinite field of possibilities. And that's what we're going to take a quick commercial and come back. But the infinite field of possibilities are amazing because there's a different version of you in a multiverse that you can just to heal for this to happen. It's actually that energy already exists, and you get to actually merge into that energy. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next segment, guys. Stay tuned because we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about being in your energy, being in your frame, understanding of shields a lot deeper, but how to transmute the energies of masculine and feminine shields and being in your frame and in your power. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching the replay. I'm Noelle Agape. I'm a quantum energy trainer. I'm an NLP trainer, and I run adventure therapy retreats around the world, which we do crazy adventures, and we use fear as a motivator as opposed to a debilitator. Today, we're talking about being in your frame and how to become magnetic in your frame, how to manifest from being in your power, in your I am presence, and how to actually understand the masculine and feminine shields and what they look like. And so how it shows up often in the masculine frame, when the masculine has a masculine shield, what happens very often is it's the wounded masculine. It's the aggression, it's the anger, it's the I gotta fight, I gotta move through this, right? And then the feminine, when somebody has a feminine shield, what happens often is they repel the divine feminine energies, and it's I'm very needy, I have to chase, I have to lean in, I have to I feel very, very, very insecure, right? And so the divine masculine in his power looks like motivation, action. It looks like structure, procedure. It looks like strength. And the divine feminine in its power looks like intuition, playfulness, joyfulness, just creative and flow, right? And so when you understand that in relationships, everybody has a shield. Everybody has a masculine and feminine shield at some point in their life that they have to break through. And when you break through the shields, on the other end of that is actually the relationship that you're supposed to be in, right? And so many times your soul comes in on this beautiful journey, and it comes in to transmute specific things, right? Comes in to transmute scarcity, lack, shame, abundance, moving into abundance and honor. So how do you, one, find your shield? You do exactly what I just scan your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit through again, and your body is intelligent enough to know where the shield was developed and when. Then you find the story, right? Oh, I have a feminine shield because my mother was, she was abusive, or my mother neglected me, or my mother sent me away, or my mother wasn't in her divine feminine, or I have a masculine shield where my father was abusive, or whatever it may be, right? But that's the story that you have created in your subconscious mind. And I promise you this, guys, when you understand that there's everything and every soul is teaching you and showing you along the way for these souls have chosen to come in for you to teach these lessons and learn these lessons so you can actually teach them back out. So I'll use a perfect example of my father. Those that know me, my father was an abusive alcoholic, and I've seen him throw my mom against the wall. Like, he started out with, beer, and then went to vats of vodka. And by the end of the day, it would get terrible, right? So my masculine shield was this. My masculine shield was men hurt or they leave, right? Because he left and he abandoned my family. And then my grandfather, who was my hero, he saved us. And I lived with my grandfather. He's the greatest human I've ever met, including my grandmother. And they raised us when we moved away from the toxic environment. Yet my grandfather died in front of me when I was 15 years old. So like my family lost a tremendous amount of money. My family unit wasn't the same when my grandfather died. He was the rock of the family. He was a hero. So for me, it was very hard to allow trust into my relationships, right? So how it showed up in my relationships was infidelity on either part, right? One or the other. It showed up as narcissism, one or the other. I'm not saying either party. It showed up as gaslighting. It showed up as abuse. It showed up as them leaving, right? Men hurt or leave. So I had the story going on, and then that was my shield: men hurt or leave. And what I did was I stopped and I was like, wow, that's a story that's been in my vibratory fields for a very long time. How can I transmute that? Because it's not serving me anymore. And then what happened was I went into meditation, and I actually was like, okay, I want to heal my masculine shield. Can you, universe, God, source, universe, help me, Noelle, my highest self, help me heal my masculine shield. And I went in, and what I actually did was I had a conversation with my father, who passed away when I was 21, and he was 49 when he passed away of a heart attack. Went in and actually had a conversation with him, and I was like, okay, well, what do we need to heal? And we went back in time together, because we collapsed time and space. And I was 3 years old, and I was sitting on his lap, and I remember his best friend literally owning ABC Studios. And so, or it was like very high power in ABC Studios at the time. And so he got my sister and I on these three shows. I think it was like Kids Are People Too, Zoom, and I don't remember another one, but we were on kid shows, right? We were actually on TV shows when we were kids. And I had so much joy and I had so much fun in those moments with my dad that I didn't repress that memory of joy and fun with my dad. But what I actually realized was I'm a TV host because of my dad, right? With inside of me when I was 3 years old, I knew that feeling. I loved that feeling of being on camera. I love that feeling of teaching. I love that feeling of helping others through film. And I didn't know that because I had such a shield. I was like, my dad's an abusive alcoholic. He was terrible. He died of alcoholism. He was just terrible to my family. My grandfather died in my arms. He was my hero. And so it was such a wounded space. But I allowed that shield to kind of dissipate and understand that, wow, my grandfather did the best he could. And he provided for us and was an incredible man while was here on the journey, and he was teaching us to be in our feminine power along the way. And my father actually taught me how to be a TV host, and he gave me the gift of those beautiful memories of being on camera when I was so little, and so building my confidence on camera when I was so little, and so this small little child that from, I think it was 3 to 6 years old, I was on 3 different shows, and I completely forgot that was my power. That was my confidence. That's who I am now. And when I did that, instantly it shifted. Like, literally, I felt the energy father, because, and I feel now as I'm speaking about that, because for so many years I had this masculine shield of men leave or hurt. And then I started to realize, oh my gosh, men don't have to leave or hurt, right? And I'm going to come from kindness. I'm going to see from a different point of view. And although my relationship, it didn't shift instantly in my relationship, what did happen was the detachment was, wow, I don't need to, if someone's pulling away, I don't need to lean in. They're okay if they leave. If they leave, they need to take a beat, right? We've spent a lot of time together over the last month and a half, and just allowing them to get back into their own frame. And that's what happened was, he needed to be in his own frame and I needed to be in my own frame. And we both needed to be in our power to come either back together or separate in different relationships, wherever it may be. we needed to be back in our frame, not in our feminine and masculine shield, and not create a relationship from our feminine or masculine shield, but truly be in our power and our I am presence in our frame, in our mind, in our body, in our soul, in our spirit, as who we are, right? And so, in the same time that I was healing my masculine frame, he was healing his feminine shield, right? And so, that's his story to tell, but that's what was going on is my masculine shield was hitting his feminine shield, and I couldn't rise fully to my divine feminine, and he couldn't fully rise to his divine masculine, even though there were such moments where we were in our masculine and feminine. It was so powerful when we were wounded and when we were fighting, it would come together in the wounded shield and the masculine, the wounded shield of the feminine, and it was literally like battling our soul, because we both knew that we're supposed to be in our divine masculine and our divine feminine. So when you take a minute and you just lean back and you're the observer of your life, and you come from your I am presence of love and wisdom and kindness and higher vibrations at all times, it is the universe showing you, literally showing you, that you have to be in your divine feminine and he has to be in his divine masculine to come together, right? And all of us have the feminine and masculine energies within us. Some people are in a feminine body and have a feminine shield, and some people are in a feminine body and have a masculine and feminine shield. So the next level beyond that is the spiritual shield, right? So understanding that you have the I am presence, understanding that you are God, source, universe in a physical body coming through you out to the world, not going out to God, not seeking up to God, but having God in you, universe in you, source within you, moving through you. And that is the most powerful place that you can be. Now, we're going to talk about multiverse as an understanding. It is my belief that everything is already created, right? And so you can tap into any energies that you actually want to, because everything is already in existence that's created. So there is a version of me that is already married to my divine masculine. There's a version of me that I have to tap into and become that person before I can actually be in that. But I had to get rid of my masculine and my feminine shield. And the next level was my spiritual shield, right? What part of me was not allowing me to be in my divine feminine? What part of me was not allowing him to be in his divine masculine? There's a part of you that's fractured from your soul, from your spirituality, right? And so we came together and we came in love, and we were taking a beat, we're taking a minute, and we realized that regardless of whatever happens, there's no lack and there's no scarcity in love at all, right? There's 7.9 billion people on this planet. If him and I don't work out, then we're good, because we're good within us. But we needed to take a beat to get good within us before we actually came either together or came together with other people. And so that's where you develop healthy relationships, right? Is when you start to break down the shields, when it's like, God, it's you and me, right? It's you and me. I'm pulling my energy back. And one thing that I realized so much over the past month and a half, and probably even just over the last couple hours, right? Maybe 24 to 48 hours, was that giving people space and time, not to heal, because you can constantly be in the healing loop, but the transmuting of the energy, there's always a gap in between the manifestation, right? Even if you quantum leaped into another dimension and you into the version of you that you believe is the version of you, it's because you did the energetic work to be a vibratory match to that, right? So everything that is showing up in your life, everything that is showing up in your life is because of your energetic frequency. And when you understand that your energetic frequency is completely showing you and guiding you to a higher version of yourself, to the divine masculine, the divine feminine. The way my relationships have shown up in the past was because I had a masculine shield. The way that my relationships were showing up was because I didn't trust, because thought they cheated or they lied. I thought that they lied. That's what's going to show up, because that was one of my belief systems. Went a little into meditation, and I actually found something really good about my father, and I was grateful and thankful for him to bring me into this world. And I don't have to go on the soul's journey anymore of, oh my gosh, men are hurt or leave, or men cheat and lie, because I don't need that anymore, right? It was my dad, I found the purpose and I found forgiveness. And so through the process of forgiveness, it's such a tremendous gift. And it's not, oh my God, I'm going into forgiveness to heal. I need you guys to hear that. You're not going in to heal. You're going in to truly transmute the energies, right? And so when you understand that that's the teacher, not the healer, and when you feel like you're the student and the teacher in the same breath, that's Christ consciousness. When you take accountability for everything in your reality, everything in your reality is because what's going on inside of you. So the relationship that I was just in was one of the greatest of my life, and literally the love of my life. And when I tell you that it was the version of me that we had to separate and we needed to be, and if we wind up together and get be married, that's amazing and wonderful. If not, it's an energy that I'm producing. So he showed up in the energy that I was producing, right? Big concept. He showed up in the way that the version of me expected him to show up, unconsciously. And I showed up for him in the version of him that he unexpectedly, and I mean, unconsciously um, allowed. So that's a tremendous thing to understand, guys, is that he showed up in the version of me that I unconsciously believed he was. I unconsciously believed men were. I showed up as the version of the unconscious version that he believed men were. But in the multiverse, you can choose your reality. I choose to be in a beautiful, loving, kind relationship. I choose honor. I choose kindness. I choose love always. I believe that love always wins. I believe that the man that I was just with and every man that I've ever been with, or and my father was a narcissist, so I was literally producing narcissistic energy within the frame of my relationship, but it was the frame within me. It was not anything to do with them. It was they were showing up exactly how I believed them to be. The version of my masculine was exactly in the narcissist, right? They were narcissists. They cheated. They lied. They hurt. They left. That's what was showing up in my fields because that was what was emanating outside of me. That was my electromagnetic fields. That was my masculine shield. The second that I healed that, guys, that was the turning point in my life where it's never about you, meaning it's never about the other person. It's about your version that you believe of that person. And that will shift your relationships tremendously when you understand that that's full accountability. I am taking full accountability for the life that I've created. I'm taking full accountability for the circumstances that have come up in my life over the last month and a half or over my life, because it's a version of me that I actually chose to stay in. And I promise you this, guys, that there's powerful, powerful lessons in these stories. I teach from experience and I talk about my relationships openly because I don't, I just live in authenticity. And when you live in authenticity with who you are, not the version that your ego tells you to be, but the version of you that God tells you to be, your I am presence. That is when you show up every single day. I'm going to make the greatest version of myself today. I'm going to make choices that are constantly not coming from my wounded masculine, my wounded feminine, but my divine masculine, my divine feminine. Choices that are not coming from my shields or my stories, but choices that I'm going to live in love. I'm going to live in wisdom. I'm going to give, if somebody needs a beat, give them a beat. If somebody, you're not responsible for other people's emotions, but what you are responsible for is the version of you that you're projecting onto them. And that's such a big concept, but it truly changed my life. Like, I am at such peace right now and with where I am. There was a moment, right, that the emotional wave, I feel my way through life, right? And the emotional wave where I felt the anger and the guilt and just as you would with any separation. Yet when you get through that, and when I got to my masculine shield was the whole purpose of this, right? My entire purpose with this most beautiful human that I've spent so many months with, that truly is the love of my life and my best friend in the entire world. Whether I'm with him or I'm not with him, I want to honor and love and respect and just have power in that space, that he is the divine masculine. And if he had a feminine shield, he's got that feminine shield. That's not mine to heal, but I see him as the greatest version of himself. I see every man that I've ever been with as the greatest version of themselves. And because my masculine shield has been healed or transmuted, right? And so I choose to believe in love. I choose to believe in the higher vibrations. I choose to believe in the higher frequencies. I choose to match the higher frequencies. And people say all the time, they're like, Noelle, how do you do it? You literally go from 0 to 60, but then you go right back into love. They're like, you get to love so fast. How do I do it? It's because I understand that when I'm in my frame, I'm in my power. And when I'm not in my frame, I'm not in my power, and I'm making choices from my ego, not from my God source that's coming through me. And that's such a powerful lesson, is that when you pause and you take a beat and it's not from your ego and you're just saying, oh, hey, wow, what's going on with this person? There must be a lot going on with this person. Oh, maybe they need a minute to transmute their own energy, what's going on in their life. Or maybe that they, it's God's protection. I have no idea what's happening, but I do know this, that I know I'm in my power. And the more that I'm in my power, the more that allows him space to be in his power to find out what's going on. And I'm not in a space of scarcity or lack, where there's an abundance in love. And there's I'm going to love you from my soul, together or not, because there's no separation. And so that was a big lesson, big aha moment for me and lesson for me. And I wanted to share it with you guys. We're going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to give you key takeaways on how to actually break your feminine shield, your masculine shield, your spiritual shield, but how to stay in your frame, and how important it is to understand that you need to do that on a daily basis. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited to be here today because we're talking about masculine and feminine shields. We're talking about understanding and moving through the wounded and masculine, the wounded feminine, to the divine masculine, the divine feminine energies, being in a relationship from this space, and how it looks in relationships, how it shows up in your life, in money, in business, in relationships, in just in life. If you have these energies within inside of you, they need to be transmuted. They're asking to be transmuted for your soul to evolve to a higher place. So we're going to take some key takeaways of what to do and understand. So the first is understanding that we live in an infinite field of possibilities. And if you're coming from a place of scarcity, I want you just to pause for a minute, and maybe you're like, oh, I'm not coming from scarcity, but I promise you that there's some scarcity somewhere in your life that you can transmute, because you're still in a human embodiment, right? And so there's some form of growth that you can have in your life. And I want you to literally just stop and pause and say, what is showing up in my life, and how is it showing up, right? Am I muscling through? Am I doing things, is it flowing through? Is it ease? Is it grace? Is it joy? Is it, a struggle in a relationship? Is it a struggle in your business? Is it a struggle with finances? And I've had problems with all of it, right? And I'm constantly doing the work, and I'm constantly shifting, and I'm constantly manipulating time and space. That's the most important thing to understand, is that there is already a version of you that exists, that feels and knows and is the thing that you want. Behind that ego, behind that shield, behind all of that we spoke about, right? When you're in your I am frame, I am so confident in who I am, more than I've ever been. I'm 51 years old, and this is my time in my life. Like I go through things in my life. The last month has been so crazy for me. I have been home for 3 days, 3 days the last month. I've traveled everywhere, been on a plane every single week. We've been trying to make a long distance relationship work, meeting everywhere all over the world, and having families and having children and being a trainer and him being a speaker and all of this stuff. It's been crazy. Me actually, moving out of my house, it's been nuts. And I still stay in love. There's moments of frustration, there's moments of anger, but I go back to love. I get back to wisdom. I get back to a high vibration very, very, very quickly. How? I stay in my frame, right? My frame. This is my space. And when people say stay in your lane, that's not really what I'm talking about. It's not like, oh, stay in your field of excellence, right? It's more of, this is my power. I'm, if you allow the ascended masters to come through you and be in you, and God in you through you, and you know that you are living your life as God in you through you, that is being in your frame, right? And understanding that there are multiple realities that happen at every moment in time, right? And every choice that you make is a different reality. Every yes that you're making. So this is what I taught this week. There's yeses that are full blown body yeses. You feel them with all that you are. There are yeses with resistance, and then there are nos, right? And this is where you will find your shields. When you understand the yeses are, they're just easy, they flow, they're so beautiful. It's like, wow, whew, that's a yes. That was easy. There's no resistance to that at all, right? That's a yes with resistance. And sometimes yeses turn into nos, but they were just yeses along the way. And then, that goes back to the season, reason, and lifetime. The seasons are there to bring you joy and expand you. Some seasons are negative, but they're there to expand you. Seasons are truly there for expansion. The reasons are the lessons they teach you, right? They're the ones that, whether they're soul lessons, whether they're relationship lessons, whether they're money lessons, whether they're business lessons, they're just reasons. And then they teach you the lifetimes are your ride or dies, right? There are your, yes, let's go. And sometimes the yeses are seasons, sometimes they're reasons, and sometimes they're lifetimes, right? And you will know what they are because will be an expiration date if it's not your lifetime. And you'll feel that expiration date energetically. You'll feel that pull back. When you're in your frame, things are over when they're not over. And when you're not in your frame, that's when you're reaching out and you're leaning in and you're trying so much to rescue something or save something, or that's not supposed to be there. I'm guilty of that, especially even like the last month. I was definitely not in my frame a lot of the time. But when you're in your frame, you're in your power. You know who you are. I am with work and who I am. Like, I know who I am. I can speak on any stage about the quantum with my eyes closed. Like, I know I can teach the quantum with my eyes closed. So the yeses with resistance, that's the next piece, right? It's where in your life do you have your soul is saying yes, but your heart or your mind has resistance, right? If your heart has resistance, it's 100% a shield. If your mind has resistance, it's 100% your ego. It's that simple. Really that simple. Move past your belief systems, move past your ego. Look from an observer point of view. What is it actually teaching you? What is it showing you? Where are you not working with the resistance to get through the resistance to the yes? Where are you not doing the inner work? Where are you actually stuck in the healing loop where you're constantly licking your own wounds, right? And it's like instead of being where the victim, the prosecutor, the hero, and being in that loop over and over and over again, you could do it with yourself or with others. Right now, that could be within yourself that you're doing that same loop, or that could be within a relationship that you're doing, or in a situation that you're doing. The yeses with resistance those are the lessons that you really have to like go in, and you have to truly be authentic. It's really important to understand. The no's are so important to understand as well, and they're just as important because the no's are either protection or not now, it's not the right time, or it is 100% there is something better for you, right? So you have to learn detachment. That is the biggest thing with working with your shields is you have to learn detachment. You have to understand that you're not healing. You're here to teach and you're here to transmute, and that's it. Like, you are here to transmute the energy. You're not here to sit in energy and ruminate in the healing space, because that is really the victim space when you're licking your own wounds and you constantly healing. When you are transmuting the energy and moving it into a different direction, that is coming from a space of spiritual maturity and having an awareness. Oh, I'm consciously transmuting this energy. I'm consciously seeing scarcity. I'm consciously working with the scarcity as polarity. That's the next step. You have an awareness, then you use the polarity as momentum and be like, wait, without the light, there can't be dark. Without the dark, there can't be the light. So I'm going to use the polarity of the scarcity. I'm going to use the polarity of the rejection. I'm going to use the polarity of whatever it is showing up in your life to know that the opposite already exists, because it cannot show up if the opposite is not there. It's just a law of polarity. And so if the opposite is showing up in your vibratory fields because you don't want a, masculine field, or you don't want a narcissist, or you don't want somebody that's showing up in that way, look inside of you, the version of you that what's producing that narcissist, what's producing that are you in a victim? Yes, I'm in the victim. Oh, I'm in the victim. So that produces a narcissistic vibration, right? And you have to do that inner work to understand that, oh my gosh, I don't need to heal. I just need to transmute. Oh, what is it? It's scarcity, scarcity in love, scarcity in marriage, scarcity in, fear of intimacy. Men hurt or leave, right? That's the work that I have to do, but I have to work with it. What's the opposite of men hurt and leave? Men stay, and they honor you and they love you, right? What's the opposite of narcissism? The divine masculine, like being in his power, loving, giving, kind, selfless, right? A God source universe. It's there because it was inside of me, not because the version of anybody else was showing up that way. It was because it was inside of me to transmute. I work with the polarities and say, oh, there's scarcity. I'm leaning in an anxious way because I feel that there's scarcity in love. There's 7.9 billion versions of you out there, meaning there's 7.9 billion humans that you can love, really. But even more so, there's an infinite amount of possibilities for that 7.9 billion people, because we live in an infinite universe. And when you know that, and you're in your frame, and you're in your God source universe, you're in your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, you absolutely encapsulate you in your power. You work with, if you want to understand how to work with the energies of it, then we can go even further. Go to noelleagape.com, and I have tons of stuff to help you work with the energies of it. But you have to work with the mental body. Field, right? What are my belief systems? Body telling me, what is my body like? Am I healthy? Am I working out? Am I getting serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine? Am I keeping eating healthy? What is my heart telling me? What is my emotional body? Am I living in fear, anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, and shame? Do I not feel good enough, worthy, safe, secure, protected, or lovable, or whole and complete right now? Right? These are all things that are shields that are within you. You get to break those. You get to move. You get to love and understand that there is God source universe inside of you. You are God source universe inside of you. And it is the most powerful thing you'll ever know in your entire life. And when you are in your frame, it's like, that pocket where it's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I am so confident in this space in my life, right? I'm so confident in who I am in work. I'm so confident in who I am in everything. I get to bring that confidence in, that I am presence in. I get to show up as the divine masculine in my relationships, right? You get to bring that energy forth, use the polarity, and then say, oh, okay, awesome. I'm in scarcity, in love, so I'm leaning in and acting anxious. But if the opposite of scarcity is abundance, then I have an abundance of love. I could be secure enough in my frame to know that God's got me, and that everything is always working out for me, that I'm more powerful than I ever know, and that I don't need to live in scarcity in business. I don't need to live in scarcity with money or men. I just be in my power and manifest from that space. That is when it changes your life. Now, I want to talk about the gap between the manifestation process and actually the manifestation coming into the physical realm. Everything happens in the energetic realm before it happens in the physical realm. I'm going to say that again. Everything happens in the energetic realm before it happens in the physical realm. Created, it's already created, but it has to be, you have to be the momentum has to be in that direction. You have to be a perfect vibratory match to that for it to show up in your fields. So whatever showing up in your fields is your perfect vibratory match to. Meaning that there might be a time where you have a thought and you have a feeling and you all of a sudden be like, oh my gosh, like I know I'm married. I'm married. I'm like really, really married. And it's beautiful. And my ring's amazing. my wedding dress is incredible. And it feels so good. And it's like, it's done in my mind. In my physical body, I'm talking to you, that hasn't manifested yet because I am creating right now from a present space from my frame. But what I had created prior to that was that I wasn't married and I was a single mom and all the stories, right? But what you is showing up in your reality right now is actually past vibrations of your past manifestations. So there's a lag in between. There can be an instant, the lag could cure in an instant. Is moving for you to move into that different reality. Makes sense? Big show today, guys. I needed to tell you that I took a beat because I had so much going on with work, so much going on with my relationship, so much going on with traveling, my family and home, that I wasn't in a space to teach. And as soon as I got in a space to teach, I got back on. Know that everything, nothing is even a multi created. You can tap into any version of you that you want to be. It's all there. God is in you. You are God in you. It comes through you out to the world. And that's how we transmute reality. That's how we change reality. You have masculine shields, you have feminine shields, you have spiritual shields. Do the inner work, right, guys? Go in and do the inner work. And me and the universe, like, it's more of like a teaching, learning kind of thing. And it's very playful and it's very curious and it's very fun. I'm never going in and being like, oh my God, I got a masculine shield. It's God. Can you please heal me? It's actually, oh wow, I got a masculine shield. Okay, from this place of awareness, what do I need to do now to pivot? Oh wow, scarcity is showing up. The opposite of scarcity is what? Abundance, right? That's how you live in the quantum fields. That's how you break down your shields. And I promise you guys that it's already done. I'm already married. I'm super excited and inviting him in, whoever he may be, the person that I was with or someone that is a greater match for me. Regardless, I'm always coming from love. Even that I have not been with very many men in my life, but I love them and I honor them and I come from love and know that they're in their masculine energies. They are not wounded. They are not broken. They are beautiful. My relationship was my responsibility because I created that version of them. You're more powerful than you will ever know. Everything is inside of you. Nothing is external. If something is going on in your life, look within. If something is not right in your life, look within. If a relationship's not right with life, if money's not right with your life, if anything is not going on in your life, I promise you it's all within. And I promise you that because I have experienced it, guys, and I'm still experiencing it, right? There are many things in my life that are wonky, and there are many things in my life that I transmute, but I choose to be in love. I choose God in me, through me, every day, all day. You're more powerful than you will ever know. I promise you that when you embody that, the world will shift because it has to. It is just a frequency of God, of love, of light, and of wisdom. And you have that inside of you. I love you guys so, so much. And I will see you in the next video.